So this is where all the magic happens. This is where the collection. We've been doing this now for about 30 years, collecting off semen. We built these brand new facilities. We've just spent about £2 million building all these new facilities. We've moved in here 3 years ago. So when we built the collection area, we really built it in mind for the safety of the stallions, safety for the staff and the team here to work in, and an environment that the stallions are comfortable to work in. It's so important that the stallions are comfortable to work in this environment. So if you come over here, you've got a springs floor, but not look at my legs though. So this gives a bit of a cushion really for so that the mare is much more stable, or the stallion is much more stable. Whenever you cover or collect off stallions, they love to have good footing. And I'm thinking we might do future webinars on how we collect off stallions, problematic stallions, and how we train them on the dummy and everything else. So that's something for the future. So you can see it's fully padded. We go over here. This is good old girl. She's always ready to be used. So this is one of the dummy mare that we use all the time. Not all stallions go on the dummy, but most of 80% we can actually get on the dummy, and they're usually fairly easy to train. Some aren't, some are older and a bit more difficult to collect off. So you can take her neck cover off if you want. That's fine. We'll bring her out. But we'll just have a look in here. So this is our ground collection box. So some stallions we actually prefer to be collecting on the ground. So we've actually, it's a bit like the 50 Shades of Grey here, isn't it? With the what's going on. This is I haven't seen the film actually. I think it's called The Red Room. All read the books. But, anyway. No, I haven't actually. I can't read very well. So, but anyway, this is the ground collection box. So it's all padded, and so it's safe for everyone to work into when ground collection.
We've got questions that come in, Tullis, actually. So someone's actually asked what the issue is with frozen seaweed, why it's frozen.
Yeah, I think I don't. So the question. Just repeat the question in case you didn't hear that. We had a question come in saying, why is frozen semen frowned upon by some vets? And what was it? Was that it? Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Sometimes the conception rates vary. We've got fresh semen, fertility is absolutely brilliant. Chilled semen, fertility drops ever so slightly, and then frozen can. But nowadays, with the current technology you've got, we're going to look at that in a minute, the frozen semen now can work exceptionally well. And it really has kind of good results. Some stallions, obviously, it differs from every single stallion, but nowadays, really, the results are quite outstanding in frozen. Technology has moved on such a way, and that's something I like to think we are really sort of pushing the boundaries of science and really trying. Until your mare owners get your mares involved first time, every time, we're still going to be trying to get those results better and better for you. So that takes research and development to do that. So don't be afraid about using frozen. It can work very well. Not all the time, okay?
And we also have Eva who likes to answer this question as well. So I don't know if she can.
She's muted.
She's muted. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how the technology works on that one. Sorry.
Okay.
Are we still good?
Oh no, she's unmuted.
She's unmuted. Okay, Eva.
No, it's fine. All I did was just say that those were the questions in the Q&A about the frozen semen. So you answered those. There was another really interesting question for you, Tullis. How do you decide what height to set the dummy mare at? Because obviously the dummy mare is behind you. How do you do that? That'd be good to know.
Very good question. I think we could do a whole another webinar on this one. But yeah, I mean, we've got to set the dummy up to really suit the stallion. Every stallion is slightly different. They want it higher, one lower the other. And you really have to think, if you were jumping on a mare, what height would that mare be? And usually you set the dummy just ever so slightly lower than the mare there would be. But it does vary. It all depends on how the stallion pivots itself. What we want to make sure is the stallion behind it has got some short footing. If the dummy mare is too low, it's the biggest mistake people make. The stallion goes too far up the dummy and the back legs come off the ground and make them quite unstable. So it's important to get the dummy at the correct height. But sometimes that can take working out, and every stallion is slightly different. But is that okay, Eva?
Perfect, thank you.
Good. Right, now this is one very special lady, and we're not talking about EJ either. So bring her on out, EJ. This is really the creme de la creme. I think she'd come over here a bit on this side. You just hold her up there. Now this mare is one of our teaser mares, and she is, I can't tell you how much we think of our teaser mare. She's not going to do a lunch.
Maybe.
But this is a Suffolk punch. And these are rarer than the giant panda. It's only 72 pounds, I think she got. She wants to go back out in the field. Just turn her around a bit. I think she knows where she wants to go. When that, she's had enough today. But she is absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely love her to bits. She stands for a lot of the stallions. We have about 7 teaser mares here, and they are absolutely everything to us. And for you, I know she's trying to make a bolt for the door out there, but she likes it a bit like me. She likes it up, as you can tell. But I promise you, she comes in every morning, loves her job, and she's such a willing person. It's quite sad that she's used, obviously, for a teaser mare now, but she's had about 6 foals. Unfortunately, about 3 of them did die. So, you know, we've had to find another purpose for her. And that's what we've got to do for these rare breeds. And later on in the talk, we're going to talk more about this. So she is a really special lady. As I said, there's only 72 females left in the country. There's only 300 left in the world. We have to do something about these horses. Otherwise, you're not going to see this breed here anymore, which is an absolute travesty. They're one of the nicest, gentlest breeds that are out there. And the happy horses themselves are engraved. So this is on the critically endangered list of the Rare Breed Survival Trust. Just to let you know, those people that joined us a bit late, just the proceedings, we're going to go into the lab in a minute. We're going to thaw out a bit of semen. We're going to have a look at, hopefully it's going to be moving, it's one we collected off earlier. And we're going to have a look around the rooms, and then we're going to do a presentation upstairs, all about new technologies in the equine breeding industry. And right at the end, we're going to show you a bit of work of how we collect off elephants as well. And I've been very privileged to work with some fantastic people out in South Africa doing that. So if you can stay right to the end, it's a bit of a special treat. And you can win a bottle of champagne. So we've got a bit of a quiz going on, but we'll come on to the quiz in a minute. So I must admit, she's one lovely lady, isn't she? This is as much of a team as everybody else in the team. So she's fantastic at teasing these stallions, getting these stallions sort of ready for go. But before the watershed, so I better be a bit careful, I say. Right, thank you very much, EJ. Thank you. So you can go out and have a grub. So we just started up another exciting new business. We do obviously lots of different businesses here, and we're going to show you all the different businesses. But one we've just launched, literally recently, is this one here. So you can go on in, Lucinda, and have a look. This is a company called Elite Cow Fertility. So now we've sort of cracked up with all the stallion side. We've actually started to do on the canine side. So it's called Elite Cow Fertility. So this is where we can actually collect and freeze from dogs, all different species. And it's the unique extenders that we've made in the lab that means we can freeze these dogs hopefully better in a more viable way. And there's something like 9 million dogs in this country, and the AI side is really taken by storm. So, yeah, it's a brand new business. We've been going literally for about 6 months. We've just built this lab. It's brand new, hardly been used. We've got the ice firm. I'll talk a bit about that in a minute. But yes, so this is all ready to go. Systems go, and I think we've got some dogs coming in next week actually to freeze. Right. Okay. So I'll speak a bit. Might be able to hear me a bit better when we're inside. Is that better? Yeah. Yeah. Just let me know. So in here, this is the AV room. So before we go into the lab, so the AV stands for artificial vagina, and as you can see here over here, Lucinda, we've had quite a busy day. We've collected off a lot of stallions. We are at our peak, so these are all drying out, and then we've got all these ones ready, lined up for tomorrow morning. So we've got all different shapes and sizes. We've got the sort of medium size AVs, and we've got the even the larger ones for the bigger boys. And well, no size too small here. We've even got a smaller AB as well. So we cater for every animal, every size as well. So we've got a selection of ABs. And these buckets we use for washing the penis down as well. So we wash it. We're going to show you a collection in a minute. And we'll show you how the whole process works. So this is where we prepare all the ABs in the morning. So this is, we call this the dirty room or the preparation. So then we're going to come into the lab. And so we sent out a quick look around the lab. When we built this, we tried to really future-proof it. So one problem with our old lab, it's quite small. So we've built this really precise so we can cater for a lot of orders when they come in. And you can see we've already got quite a few orders lined up for tomorrow. You know, I think we've got Chuck Boss and Chatham Flamenco, Win-Win, and a big star. So, you know, we've got quite a few already lined up for some of you mare owners already. So this is where all the fresh and chilled processing takes place. I hope you're all getting all this and enjoying what we're doing. This is the board where we sort of keep everybody, where we know where all the stallions are and all the ones that are coming in as well. Just have a look in here. This is our research room. So this is where we do quite a bit of the research. We've got a fluorescent microscope, and we do look at any of the epididymal work we do in here as well. So, okay. So as we come out, okay, Faith, any more questions?
We do have quite a few questions.
Oh God, right, come on, let's bring them on. Let's have a go.
Someone asked whether we export to the USA, and you know, how long does it take?
Yeah, we do usually quite a few shipments to the US. Sorry, I should be looking at the camera, not Faith. We have quite a few shipments going to the USA, and we'll show you our export room in a minute. And each year we do it. Things are on hold at the moment, obviously, with the COVID-19, and we're just a bit nervous about shipping out there. They say they may be able to get it there, but but that will soon resume. So yes, we do a lot of shipments to America, all over the world. In fact, I'll show you the data. I think we did 23 different countries last year.
Yeah, okay. There's also another one coming from somebody saying, do you see a difference in the fertility of the stallions that are actively competing at a high level versus when they're or retired or otherwise not competing?
It's quite interesting to say that, because actually I think there's a research student that's going to come to us when there's COVID-19 things relaxed a bit, and going to come here and do some research. We're going to look into that side of things between horses that are actively competing to the ones that are resting. No, we don't generally see that. It's more age related as well. So really the ones that are competing slightly younger and tend to be giving us good semen anyway. And the older ones, obviously their fertility can drop off. But there's so much we can do in the lab here. And this is where technology's really moved forward. There's so much we can do in the lab. We've even just got some of this new thing. I know it's a bit of a small apparatus, but we're even looking into sort of a two-step dilution now for freezing extender. We're trying on a few steps, and it works really, really well. Rather than doing all the freezing extender straight away, we do it drip by drip, and that's had good benefits. So we're just lined up ready for tomorrow, so we can see all these small pots here have all the stallions for chilled semen. And then we've got about 5 or 6 stallions for freezing semen as well. So you can see the whole lineup. So this is all ready for tomorrow morning. Right, so this is where we deal with all the semen on this side of things and analyze the semen on the screen. So what we're going to do now, we're going to try and quickly thaw out some frozen semen and see what it looks like. We're keeping fingers crossed and see if it works. It's fairly straightforward. We've got a straw in here, so we're going to literally, this is the way to see it. See this bath here? This is minus 196 degrees centigrade. And so this keeps the semen suspended in animation forever. You know, this is the beauty about this. Incredible how you can freeze something down and bring it back to life in 30 seconds. I still now, we've been doing this for 30 years, I still find it absolutely amazing how it can work. So we literally just get a straw, and we pop it in the water bath, and we go on for about 30 seconds, and that semen will start thawing out fairly quickly. One straw can contain about 150 million sperm cells, and it's 0.5 ml. So, and we freeze semen anything from 200 to 300 million sperm per mil. And just, you know, we'll do other webinars and things on this, because I think there's a lot more details we can tell you about how many doses and things like that, how many straws per dose and things like that. But we usually put 6 straws per dose, so that's 3 mils every time with AI in there. And in each straw, as I say, there's about 150 million sperms per straw. So any questions, Faye, while we're waiting for that to thaw?
We've got loads of questions
Oh, God.
coming in.
Right.
I think we might be here all night.
Don't ask any too tricky ones.
Someone asked, when you were walking through the AV room before, how do you know what size of AV fits the stallion?
Right. We get asked that question quite a lot. What size AV fits the stallion? And someone might say, I've got to be careful which breed I pick on here, so I don't think I will pick any breed, so I'll get told off. But there's some breeds, and you think they're big horses, and they say, oh, he's 16 hands, I must need a... There's some breeds, horses that come out, unfortunately, they're big horses, but in proportion, they've got a smaller penis. So I have to be very careful with my words at the moment. And then you get some like these little Welsh cobs. Well, they come out, they're quite well blessed. They've got a big penis and they don't need a small AV when you do. So I'm afraid you just have to see what size the penis is before you decide which AV. It's not done on the size of the horse, it's done on the size of the penis. Yeah, and it's important, like Kate was just reminding me that it's important the glands, the penis at the end of the AV, they don't ejaculate halfway down as well, because if they do that, the semen's going to get cooked. Right, 1 straw. We got to snip a little bit off and make sure there's nothing in there, and we literally just pop that out. And the size of droplets important we use when we looking at, we want to use 10 microliters. It's a standard size droplet. So one mistake people make all the time, they put different size droplets. If I just put 2 different size droplets on here, I can promise you'll get 2 different readings. So 10 microliters. And we can see a little bit in there. We just pop a bit on that and put a bit on. And then we just get a cover slide like that, and we literally just let that fall on top. And you have a look under. Wow. So there we have it. That's some frozen semen up there. I don't know if you can see that. You don't often get fresh semen like that. So that's it's pretty good stuff. And I think this was this. Yeah, this is Edward. Yeah, we've spoken, and his semen has been absolutely brilliant. You know, so this Edward, the stallion we saw up there, and you know, that's pretty incredible for really good with fresh semen, with frozen semen. Yeah, so you can see it swimming around. So that should be good. Another bit of a device we got here is something called the iSperm. I don't know whether many of you see this. It's where you can actually analyse semen on an iPad. How are we doing for time, Phil?
Yeah, people are doing good. Yeah.
Yeah, just thinking. So all we do with this is right. I'll just get rid of that one.
We have got a lot of questions.
I know. I think I'd like to try and get upstairs if we can today and see. Hopefully, not too many of you are leaving it. And I know there's a lot of you from all over the world. There's Sarah from Kenya with those white rhinos. You know, there's Claire. I don't know whether you're watching from Dubai, but there's obviously my uncle in America. So it's great to have an international crowd as well from all over the place. So really appreciate you staying up tonight and watching. And we just get a small amount. It's quite a cool bit of kit, this. So we literally just put a little drop on here that we can see that. And we put a cap on top, squeeze it, turn it on. And we have a little light on here. And can you zoom in on that now, listen? And that you can see actually the semen swimming around there. And this is another stallion semen, some chilled semen that's swimming around. And you can actually do the analysis on an iPad. This is a mini iPad 5, and you press analyze, and then that'll tell you exactly what the concentration is, what the quality is, and everything else. So it's come back as 84% motile, which is good, and you know, and it can give you a great analysis. And by the way, Dave, you're listening. That's your boy, Ashdale Legend semen. So I don't know where that was going today, but as you can see, it was 8. I think I only gave it 70%, and that's given it 84%. So, so that just shows, you know, that's a great bit of device that vets and people can use, you know, without actually having to carry around a big microscope. So it tells you the concentration and the motility. Other things we'll talk about is extenders, and there's lots of different ones out there. And this is really what's, you know, we call it our liquid gold. It's really, really good. It's stuff that it's our freezing extender. And we're actually sponsoring a PhD student at Nottingham University to really trying to make this even better. I believe it's one of the best freezing extenders in the world. We make it here and it gets some fantastic results, and we can make more stallions freeze. And I really believe we can make it better. So that's why I'm investing actually quite a lot of money into this, to try and make it better. And the most important thing is to get better conception rates at the end of it. So this is something we use. It's unique to us, and obviously it has huge benefits for a wide range of stallions. It means we can just freeze more. Yeah.
What is an extender?
Extender is something we add to the semen to prolong the life. If it's not in the mare and it's not in the stallion, it's not in its raw state. So we have to give it something to feed and give it the nutrition to keep it alive. So that's something we've developed for a while. And the extender is really important. It ain't going to live very long if it's not in an extender. It's basically got proteins in there. And I'll show you back again. So basically, you either have a milk-based protein or an egg-based protein. And we tend to use more egg-based for freezing. So, and it's also got glucose, sugars, antibiotics in there as well. I think, you know, that's something else we could do a whole new session on as well. Again, another thing is we have to, once we put the extender in there, we have to print the straws, and we fill it beneath the 1/2 ml straws. So, Lucinda, I don't know whether you can pick that up there. Can you pick that up? So, is that?
Yeah, hang on. It's not focusing.
It's not focusing. No, don't worry, it's not.
It's not focusing now.
Don't worry. Oh, we've got it upside down anyway.
That's better. Yeah.
So it has the name of the stallion, which I think it's got British breeding, isn't it?
Yeah, this is breeders.
And then it's got the date on the straw.
Yeah.
And also on the date, I think we put next to the date, we put the concentration. So anybody who gets semen from us, they know exactly what the concentration is per straw. So you can see 300 million per mil. Turn it again, and then it tells us, you know, who froze it and our registration number as well. Okay, so that's all the information. So quite a lot of information on the straw. And this is our filling and sealing machine. So once we've done that, we actually, that's how we fill and seal the straw. But I think with the frozen sealing. Okay. So again, I think we'll do another webinar purely on everything we do in the lab and show you how we actually collect, process, freeze, centrifuge, and seal the centrifuge. We have 3 centrifuges in here, and they usually go flat out all day. So that's the processing side. And now we're coming on to how your orders. Now, a lot of mare owners now put in orders, and I think we will do another seminar on what happens to when you phone here, what's the process. But we'll go into more detail another time. But basically, we've had to turn these around, but these are all the orders that we have here for tomorrow already come in. So your order comes here, and that makes sure hopefully it gets done each time. So this is the processing room for the frozen semen. It's a bit small in here, but we have a similar sort of board on here where all the orders come in. And at the back here, we have all our exports. So with the export board, we can see we've got Kenya on here. Sarah, there might be some semen coming your way at some point. So we've got Kenya on the board. We've got Australia. I think you'll be all in bed at this time in Australia and New Zealand, won't you? We've got Spain, Denmark, America, Saudi Arabia, Brazil already on there. So, you know, our export side of it is really picked up over the years, and that's one side we see the huge growth. So this is really the heart of Stallion AI. My mobile phone has had a tendency to cut out here the signal, because these rooms, that's why we left the door open. This room is fully concreted all the way around. So God forbid there was ever a catastrophe, this room hopefully be saved. Got steel doors and these big vats. Now this room we have for export, so everything here is for export. We have to keep the two separate again. It's a bit like the stallions up there, one in one room and one in another. And so if we come around here, we can actually, we've left the lid open, we can have a look. So if you have a look in there, You can see this. Can you see the straws in there? Isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
So there's about sort of a million. So we have a
Questions really.
yeah.
Does the semen deteriorate over time once it's frozen?
Right, so you got the hang of the phone? Come on, Lucinda, you did a great job there. Sorry, I'm very funny. I think you saw pop top of the head there, didn't you? Yeah. So the question was, how long was it going to live in here? It will live indefinitely. Once it's frozen, it's suspended in animation. That's the beauty about when you freeze it. It's there forever. And especially when we come onto our cryogenically freezing our rare breeds. That's why it's so important that we can actually go into, because we can preserve them so much for the future. So it's there forever. One thing I've got to mention as well is we also do a stallion supplement, SPM 20. And it's really important these stallions are fed correctly on the right supplement right the way through. It's a bit like Tesco's, not having every little bit helps, and it certainly does. And that's one thing I always, when we run the courses or do the lecturing, everything you do, every step of the way makes a tiniest bit of difference. I think everybody thinks when we process, it's all to do with processing semen in a lab. It's not. It starts 2 months before we freeze off your stallion and collect off your stallion. They really want to be fed right diet, right nutrition, and this can all help. Yes, it's not going to make massive difference, but it can make subtle differences. Right. The same how they're housed in there, how if they're stressed out, and then it can be everything. Right? Oh, is it now? Is it? Yes. Right. I've been told. Let's come outside. Come on, Kate. Right. We just got. Come on, we can all do it together. As we know, the NHS has been absolutely fundamental all over the world. Whoever's watching this, we know we could do. We really couldn't get through this COVID-19 situation. So I think we just got to show our appreciation. It's 8 o'clock. It's Thursday night. So let's give them a round of applause. I will have a few up. Oh, we get a few cheers from other people. All right. There you go. Yeah, great. Okay. Right. And I must say, we couldn't show appreciation more than for what they've done. So thank you, NHS. And oh yes, Kate, you've got something to tell us about the NHS. What are we doing with the NHS?
Yeah, so
this is Kate's idea. I have to admit, I can't take any of the glory for this. It's brand new, so
just wanted
putting
to
you on the spot now.
Yeah, well, no, I just wanted to give our bit back really and do our bit. So we've decided that from now on and moving forwards, we're going to do 10% off all of our services, not stud fees, unfortunately, but all of our services for members of the NHS. So yeah, if you are working for the NHS and you would like to take us up on that, then please give us a call and we can give you details on how you can access that discount.
And I think we had literally one the other day. When I was in the other day, we had a paramedic who rang up and she's bringing a stallion in, so she'll be the first one to, which was really good. That was on Sunday. You didn't know about that, did you?
No.
Yeah. So yeah. Right. Come on in. Come on through. So
Tullis, whilst we're walking through,
yeah.
Tracy Lucas has asked, what is a good motility? What's it mean for a stallion in relation to successful in the mare and foal with frozen semen?
Ideally, you want to have it 35. Minimum of 35%, and it wants to be above. It's biology. There's so many other things. So ideally, you want a certain amount of sperm cells. So the World Breeding Federation, the industry standard is 250 million progressively motile sperm. So that's sort of the numbers game that you're looking at. But 35% really is an industry standard we look at. I've seen stallions. We had one stallion that we couldn't quite get it to freeze. It was 20% or 15-20%, and it got everything involved. So it's only one side. All right.
I think some people are struggling with the signal. So.
All right. Okay. Let's go outside. Right. Oh yeah. I just wanted to say, are they getting nothing now or not?
It's pretty bad.
Right. Okay. Let's go. Right. You grab a tank. Yeah. Well, yeah. what I just wanted to show you here before we go is, so that, as we were saying before, in these rooms, they're so concreted that you know, we lose the signal. But what I wanted to show you before I left is that these are the shipping flasks that we ship seamen in. You can see we've got empty shelves. Anybody who's got one of these flasks, I ask you, please, can you send them back ASAP? We have 70 of these flasks for shipping seamen out, and I think we've got 10 left at the moment. So please, please, if you have any of these flasks, I ask you, can you send them back by return? I know sometimes it doesn't, they always get picked up straight away, but so it's not, I know it's not all your fault, but if you can, please send them back. They're about £1,500, and yeah, we like them back as soon as we can.
And someone also asked, are we able to test the semen to determine if you get a filly or a colt? And is this available on all horses, and how is it done?
We're going to come on to sexing semen in a minute when we go upstairs to the presentation. So I hope you're enjoying it. We've just got one more room and then we're upstairs. So I must admit, this is the room that I am most excited about. You might say I'm excited about it all, but actually this is something that's really close to my heart. I really feel passionate about it, and tonight I'd love to engage in you and see what you think about it as well. So come inside. It's not necessarily anything special to see, but it holds the future of our rare breeds. So Lucinda, so we've come into this room, and this is the Gemini Genetics. This company we formed 2 years ago, and yes, maybe not too much to see. This is a new lab that we've just had, and it's really quite groundbreaking stuff, I believe, that's going on. And Lucy, who's our lab technician, she is the one that's been helping with it. So I went over to America. We teamed up with a company called Biogen. It is quite controversial, some of the stuff, because some of it is on the cloning side, some of it is just from the tissue banking side. So yes, this is where we store all the tissue samples. So you can store tissue samples for many, many reasons. It's not just for cloning. It's for many other things as well. So if we've got their DNA and the living DNA, living tissue samples, there's so much we can do with it. So in here, in this one tank, we've got, although there's not too much to see in there, there's just a bit of mist, I'm afraid. You know, we've got black rhinos, we've got all different species in here. You know, we've got something called Java green magpie, incredibly rare magpie. So anytime an animal dies and we're linked in with Chester Zoo, they send us part of the tissue and we're freezing it. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it later, but there are 25,000 species are going to go extinct in the next 3 years. There's 1 million at risk. 80% of that is through man-made issues. 20% was going to happen through normal evolution. And we've got to find a way of conserving these animals. So I'm going to talk a bit about that later upstairs on the presentation. But this one way, it's like storing their tissue samples. So in the future, if any of these animals, God forbid, go extinct, we can actually use these tissue samples for future use. So to me, this is so important for helping rare breeds. It's not everything, obviously there's lots of other things we've got to do to help, but it's one of the big things. So I think we have to use science and technology to stop our rare breeds from going extinct. And this is one of the ways we can do it. So you can see it here. Sounds like we've got a helicopter going over here. So we have a flow hood. Everything's got to be really ultra sterile when you're freezing tissue samples now. We've been great. We've been gifted some equipment as well, and this all goes a long way to helping preserve these animals. I'm just about to hopefully start growing cell lines. So at the moment, we just freeze the tissue samples, and in here we start growing cell lines, and then we can preserve these animals for the future. Right, I think we better get upstairs. Hope we haven't lost too many of you, not getting too bored of what we do. So come this way. And before we go into the main room, I just want to show you upstairs some of the other work we're doing up here, or some of the other facilities that we put on here. So, as I say, we've been here for 3 years. And one of the things that we host here is we've got a conference centre. Unfortunately, with times that they are, we can't be hosting it. But if you come outside, you can actually see some of the other facilities. So over in the far distance is my brother's place, where there's all the mare yard and all that side and all the mares. And hopefully in a week or so's time, we can have a look at behind the scenes there. We have a big outdoor school, so we can exercise these horses. and keep them fit. And this is within all the compounds of the quarantine centre. So we come through here. So we hire out these facilities, and we have quite a few conferences here. So we have this out for lots of vet CPD, and this is the lecture room in here. So we can actually fit in here about 80 people seated with tables, or we can do about 130 if it's just tables, just chairs as we're doing it. So this is above the lab, and it's really great to get people here and teach them what we're doing. So we do loads of different CPD courses depending on what they want. So this is what's called Chapel Field Conference Suite. So it is obviously when things change very higher. So right, so we're gonna now, this is where hopefully the technology might take over. Eva, if you can just play now, we're gonna switch off here, and you can just play that bit, but don't go away, because we're just about in literally 1 minute. I'm gonna start showing this presentation all about the new technologies in equine breeding, and there's some fascinating stuff out there that's just happening, and a lot of the questions are coming through. Hopefully we'll be able to answer that. So don't go away, literally 1 minute, and I'll be back on screen, I promise. See you in a second.